Hello, everyone. It has been a hot minute since we had one of these, hasn't it? Welcome to today's live stream. Before we get started, we might as well just address the elephant in the room. Where have we been? What have we been doing? Where's live streams gone? Because it's been a while since the last Q&A, and we've seen loads of you asking on socials, what's going on? The QA's gone forever. Are we hiding away in the shadows? I'm happy to say no. Live streams are not going anywhere at all. We had some changes within our production team, meaning we had to focus our limited resources elsewhere. Discord stages, for example. And until we were able to get that back on track, we decided to stick there and focus efforts there so we could stream again when we were ready. And we are now. So we are back at last. We are very sorry it's been so long. And most importantly, we're hoping to continue with more regular live streams again. That being said, make sure to join our official Discord by using !Discord if you are in the Twitch chat, because we are streaming to YouTube as well, because we'll still be running regular Discord stages alongside our live stream schedule, as I think and the rest of the team think they've been going pretty well. They're nice, they're quite chill, you know, they're very, very chill. So without further ado, I am joined by the fantastic Manked and Daizong. How are you both doing? Are you excited to be working on another boss encounter? We'll start with you, Manked, first. Go on.
Yeah, of course. The last one that we worked on went pretty well. So yeah, excited to put those learnings from that as well and work on this.
Excellent stuff. How about you, Daizong? How you feeling?
Yes, exciting. Yeah, it's challenging but very interesting, fun project to work on.
Awesome stuff. All right, well, before we get into the nitty-gritty and chat through everything players need to know about the Royal Titans, let's cover the all-important announcements. !Titans, Old School's newest dual boss, drops early 2025. You can check out the blog for a rundown on the Royal Titans and their rewards before you vote next week. That's !Titans, you're in Twitch chat. !GOTR, calling all Runecrafters, Guardians of the Rift is better than ever. Check out this week's Game Update news post for a rundown of all the qual improvements, and you can check out the news post there. These also work in YouTube, apparently. Productions let me know, so thank you behind the scenes. Podcast, looking for the perfect content to sit back and scape to? Here's Mod Aiza and Sween's podcast with Mod Kieran, covering everything from spaghetti code to smithing reworks. Now, this is the second episode of the podcast, so you've got a lovely one to start off with Mod Arcane, but the one in the command is for Mod Kieran's one. So, yeah, very, very good stuff. Very interesting listens. I would highly recommend. Leagues 5. We couldn't leave you with our first returning live stream without at least one Leagues 5 announcement. Am I right? Leagues 5 is right around the corner. We're releasing powerful new Echo bosses with even more powerful unique rewards. You can check out the video for a rundown from the fantastic Scritic. And finally, Discord. If you want to tune in to our Discord stages that we mentioned previously and chat with other scapers, join our Discord server. It's going through so many improvements over the last year. There's so much to do in there now, so many new spaces and people to talk to. So just jump in. It's a great little place. All right, I think with that out of the way, we should just crack on with the Q&A. We've got lots of questions that we picked up from you all over the last couple of days. So I think we should start with something simple for those who aren't aware or haven't read the blog. What are the Royal Titans?
Yeah, so it's a dual boss combat that features two giants, the Fire Queen and the Ice King, and those boss can be soloed or by a group of players, but it's a dual boss. So when there's a group of players in the boss fight, there's only the top two players will be able to get the reward there, and so like the Scurrius was teaching the prayer switching and Perilous Moon was focusing on teaching the movement. So gear switching is the focus here for what we want to teach the player. So as we think the aim is to further complete the skill set that's needed for high level combat here.
And when you say that, Daizong, what kind of player should be the most excited for this release? Like, who's it aimed for?
Yeah, so currently the aim for our target player would be around level 90 to level 110. So for the comeback level, and it's also the reward is also designed to help that can give those players help when they are facing some more tough content later. Like Zara.
Awesome stuff. I'm just going to mention something in the chat. Yeah, I believe it was Modja for the art, and it is fantastic art. I must say, she always smashes out all the concept art she's been doing. Excellent stuff. So if you guys feel like I might jump in a little bit just because I'm intrigued. You two were bringing Scurrius to life recently. How's that affected your progress in development for bringing the Royal Titans to life? Have you taken any learnings from that?
Yep. So yeah, we have a lot of learning from Scurrius, how to tweaking and refining the difficulty of the combat, the balancing for the reward and the loot of the boss, and of course, the Royal Titans, it has a different focus on the design, and also it's a step up in terms of the difficulty and complexity. But I think the experience and the learning from Scurrius definitely help us, to get it better balancing in here, and also we hope we can make the experience smoothly enough for our target players.
Awesome stuff. Awesome. So with gear switching then being the focus here, how have you approached designing a fight to teach people this fundamental PVM skill in a way that feels organic? Because I feel like you guys did that with Scurrius and prayer switching really, really well.
Yeah. Well, Scurrius, the use of movement I think was quite important, where we kind of never blocked it off from being attacked, which makes it more fun because then you can always do DPS, which is enjoyable. So I think we want to have that type of approach with these two bosses as well, where then you're not waiting for them to walk 10 seconds over to somewhere else. You can always engage with them, always do DPS, and just maximize how well you're using your gear. And yeah, hopefully encourage people to use different styles throughout the fight. Don't want to give away too much, but yeah, it should be quite fun for players to engage in, and hopefully with a friend if they want to.
Hopefully, this is an MMO after all. I mean, RuneScape's a little bit different than that an MMO, and we've got a lot of players that like to play solo. But yeah, I'm going to ask off the cuff question again for you guys. Giant bosses have been a thing that people wanted alongside Obor and Bryo fight for ages. Do you feel like there's an element of pressure there on you guys to deliver something that players want?
I think probably, yeah. But I think we did a good job with Scurrius. Players seem to enjoy that. So hopefully we can, return the same with these two giant bosses and give them some fun mechanics that don't involve a key system.
Yeah. That is probably one of the biggest pieces of feedback we've seen over the many years about the giant bosses, keys, and everything else, which probably touch on at a later date. Probably not going to touch on it now. But yeah, I mean, again, you guys did a fantastic job with Scurrius. From a personal, very biased standpoint, as someone who's doing the Game Jam project, you smashed it out of the park. So, all right. Do you expect we'll see more mid-game bosses after the Royal Titans? Do you still think there are more gaps to fill, or are we hitting our limit for the time being?
Well, as mentioned, we have the Scurrius for training the prayer switch for the mid-level player, and then Perilous Moons for the movement, and now the Royal Titans is on the gear switching. I think there could be some room for more, use for interesting rewards there for the mid-level player, and also maybe some group style content that we can add there. But I think generally to say we are pretty happy for how things has been lined up for now.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, good answer, Daizong. Thank you. Don't forget to ask your questions in chat, by the way, guys. We'll, the people behind the scenes will be pulling them for us, and if we can get round to them, we will be answering your questions on Royal Titans. I might add, considering this is what the stream is all about. So while it's tough to make comparisons, if you guys absolutely had to compare the Royal Titans difficulty to another boss, where would you sort of slot these two giants?
I would say, we've been last working on Scurrius, so as kind of one of the benchmark we've been looking at, of course we know this is like difficulty complexity wise, it's a step up from there, but it's always a reference we're looking at what's the Scurrius looking like and how we can add more complexity and difficulty from there, but not too far away.
Yeah, do you guys feel like that natural progression is there? And I suppose are we slowly filling that void of more natural progression rather than these big jumps that we can see in certain elements of the player's journey?
Yeah, I guess it's Scurrius and then Perilous Moon, Fight Cave, and then probably Royal Titans, something like that progression.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I can't wait to see new accounts whenever these like mid-game bosses come in. I always am intrigued to see like what that progression people actually take. Like I know that we have the sort of mindset sort of mapped out when we're thinking about these, but it's so interesting to see it actually in play. Because I didn't think Scurrius would be like, Scurrius is a great boss, but I didn't think it would be so integral to so many people's journeys, and it's great that it has. So I feel like this might also do the same sort of thing. So another question then, which is quite a big one. Being a duo boss, could you explain more on why you're targeting a duo scale for the Royal Titans? It's not really something we've done before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think back to when we having the pigeon idea, we have the hill giant, the moss giant. So it feels like fire and ice giant is, it's like a nature next step for a new giant boss. And then we're thinking, some have this idea to present it, say, why not we have both of them together? It feels like ice and fire to fit it in one like dual boss together would be pretty cool. And the whole team is very exciting for this dual boss idea. And but it's like you said, it's not something we've done before. So it's a very interesting challenge. Makes us both be very exciting to work on.
I feel like fire and ice are always that sort of go-to over any media. They've sort of become weirdly interlinked over so many things. I'm thinking of like Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo-Tooie's little dual worlds has the fire and ice. So many elements. I think it's such a natural fit, not just for the remaining giants in game, but also generally that sort of like mixture of the two that's just happened over pop culture, I suppose. All right, speaking of the sort of duos then, some players feel as solos being tougher than duos makes it tougher to engage with, as this is learning content. Are the team open to changes that might reduce the gap while still feeling rewarding doing a duo encounter?
I think I can make those player worried be a bit relieved, because the fight, when we design this boss fight, we actually is designed with solo player in mind. It shouldn't be a massive jump in difficulty. When you have solo player compared to you have like two player, dual player, or like group player. But of course, grouping up with your friend would always help in on the combat. But it shouldn't be too difficult, when you have solo.
Awesome. I mean, I have no doubt players here are going to be able to take on any content solo if they try hard enough. We've seen how time and time again, achievements that might be a bit far-fetched, they seemingly snap up within a couple of weeks. So I don't doubt everyone's skills at home to be able to crack out some solo kills. Speaking of solo kills, we should probably talk about the Iron Men in the room. How will Irons be able to engage with the Royal Titans if they stand alone? Will they be punished for duoing?
Yeah, so we kind of went back and forth about this. We saw a lot of feedback saying Irons would like to play with a friend if possible for this. So yeah, we're leaning towards that. So if if you're an Iron and you've got a Nubia friend that's just started the game, you may take them there, and you will be able to get loot when participating with them.
Awesome stuff. There you go. There you go, Irons. Oh, go on.
Just add thing is like we want to have at least the Iron Man need to reach some like minimum contribution. So they're not just standing there and relying on the player to help them. You have to be reaching some certain portion of the damage to be able to claim the reward there.
Yeah, we're not cutting you off completely. You can still have friends. Just you probably need friends at this point, not just sit there and take all the glory. You chose your path, but we at least want to make it a little bit nicer for you. All right, next question then is, in the blog, a sacrifice mechanic or an extra role at the pet was mentioned. What made you choose a system like Arraxor's as opposed to a more traditional approach?
We saw how well received it was for Arraxor, and it is just such a cool system. It works really well because, obviously, this is for players that are not maxed, and we know that players that are maxed look for things to do, and that's typically hunt pets. So if we can give them a nicer way of getting the pet without, kind of destroying the economy in terms of the unique rewards from the boss, then a system like Arraxor seems really good, and that's why we kind of pushed forward with that, because it lets you play how you want, and it works just really well for all parties involved.
Agreed. I don't know if both of you agree, but I definitely see definitely an element of I think it's good if we keep this new system in mind with Arraxor, because it is a fantastic system, I think, but I would definitely prefer us to stay away from older content adopting that system, because I feel like that prestige is already there. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but I feel like that those pets are there and they have their staples now, so I feel like they need to be there. But new content I think is great. All right, next question then is, what tier of clue scroll might players expect to see here? We've seen a handful of suggestions for sacrificing, providing a healthy chance of an elite clue scroll. Is this something you'd consider?
Well, I think currently the plan is to have the hard and elite clue scroll there as part of the drop table. And, unfortunately, with the current design, we didn't plan to have the sacrifice for them. We only for the pet rate mainly.
Awesome. Thank you, Daizong. All right. Next question then. Something that's missing from the Arraxor style, going back to this sort of Arraxor comparison, of looting is the iconic loot beam. Do you think there's a way you could capture the same instant excitement with a system like this?
So the way we're looking to develop it won't probably have that loot beam, but because you can loot it with a friend, both of you will have the same chance to get the pet. So it's not inefficient to play with a friend. And then both of you can loot, at the same time. You can see what you're going to get at the same time. So hopefully there'll be some excitement about that. You can kind of choose when you're looting the boss, but just make sure if your friend's looting the boss, you loot the boss within a certain amount of time, because otherwise it respawns and then you can't loot it anymore.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you very much, Manked. All right, should we come away from the design and gameplay for a little bit, and should we talk about, of course, the juicy rewards that are available? We should start off with the Twinflame Staff. For those who aren't familiar, what is it? What's it good at? Who's it for?
Yeah. So Twinflame Staff, it's a staff, and it's a slower staff. I know I did talk about this briefly when I in the summit, when I talked about what reward I wanted to see, and I said a slow, hard-hitting staff, and everyone in the Twitch chat commented that's what the volatile nightmare staff is. But no, this is what I meant. I didn't explain it well in the stream, so completely fair enough for the chat to say what they did. But yeah, no, it's a slow staff. It boosts elemental spells, like any elemental staff would do. Sorry, yeah, it does extra damage if you've got like a Tome of Fire against something with a water weakness. All of that good stuff. It shoots 2 spells. The first one goes as normal as a normal spell would go, and then the second spell will do 40% of your max hit damage. So that's why it's slower, but it hits a bit more. And the reason we kind of wanted this staff was just to bridge the gap between the harmonized orb and the smoke battle staff, because people don't really use elemental spells. Maybe a big reason of that is because of the pages are quite difficult to get right. But yeah, also the smoke battle staff isn't that great. So hopefully this is a nice middle ground between them, and it will actually encourage people to use mage more often whenever they're going to do PVM or PK or whatever.
Yeah, again, Mod Jerv hitting with the fantastic concept art again. So the stuff really does look super sick. I can't wait to get that on both my main and my Gim, I'm not going to lie. So in terms of that sort of magic progression that you touched on, Manked, were there any other gaps in magic specifically in that progression considered for reward ideas that might have been shelved? We know, for example, some players suggested that the gap between the Sanguinesti Staff and Tunic and Shadow might also benefit from a new reward. Was any thought given to any of that?
Yeah, I think we considered stuff like that, but at the same time, this is kind of a mid-game piece of content, for people that have, maybe just done their fire cape and they're looking to learn how to gear switch. So this felt more appropriate to come, like this reward felt more appropriate than the gap between a Sang Staff and Tunic and Shadow. I'd say that's quite like high tier, and I don't think it would feel right for that drop to come from this piece of content. So that's why we've gone for this instead.
Awesome stuff. Speaking of like this drop, are there any funky drop mechanics with the twin flame staff, like skilling requirements to put it together?
So currently, not considered that, not thought about that too much, as it is relatively early stages. I don't think we'd need a necessarily high level in order to do that, but they will be tradable. So it's not like some other pieces of content where you get an untradable piece from Eldric, for example, and then you have to go to Brandr and go get the other one in order to sell the staff. You can just get one piece and then go buy the other one if you want to, or just, you can do what you want with it. So you're not locked into doing some skilling grinds to be able to profit from the unique that you get.
Nice, very nice. I think that's cool. The fact we're offering that as the tradable one, because it's a cool weapon. We want people to have it. It's a cool, very, very, especially looking at the design. I just want to walk around with that all day. All right, we'll move on from the staff for a bit and talk about another lot of rewards from these bosses. Let's talk prayer scrolls. What are Mystic Vigour and Deadeye, and who are they for?
Yeah, so I'd say these are some mid-tier scrolls that can be used that will augment your Eagle Eye and Mystic Might, I want to say, if I remember correctly. So it will just make those prayers basically stronger, and obviously will have a higher requirement, but it bridges the gap, which is quite a significant gap right now between Eagle Eye and Rigor and Mystic Might and Augury. Obviously, if you think about a player's journey, you get 45 prayer very early on, and then if you think about doing Chambers of Xeric, that is so far down in your kind of progression. So hopefully this will sit in a nice place where you can work towards it. Then you can go do like maybe Corrupted Gauntlet or Zora or content like that with a bit more damage that you can get from these prayers.
Awesome stuff. All right, so why did you decide to make the prayer scrolls untradable as opposed to the arcane or dexterous prayer scrolls?
Yeah, so if we made them tradable, obviously right now you've got dexterous and the arcane prayer scroll. We don't want to devalue those by just offering a relatively cheap alternative, especially for Augury, So this feels like if you want to unlock these, you can go do these content. If you're just a main, then you're probably better off just leveling your prayer higher and then just buying the prayer scrolls. So it gives people options on what they want to do, and yeah, it should not flood the game with them in that sense as well.
Thank you very much, Matt. I'm just going to say one dev. It's not pre-recorded, bruv. Like I can see your chat message. You're probably going to be spammed as a prepaid actor, but it's not pre-recorded, bruv. All right, we're doing these live. That's why it took so long to get them back. You right? Anyway, we'll move on from that. Why are changes to Chivalry being considered again, despite having failed a poll in the recent past, which is quite a topical question at the moment?
Yeah. It's completely fair seeing these comments. So the reason why it's being kind of rediscussed is previously the way we pitched the changes weren't that well liked by the community, and there was some very clear and good feedback that we could work on. So we've kind of completely changed the way we're looking at it and the implementation, which feels very appropriate for what we're trying to do with the new prayers as well. So that's why we're kind of looking to revisit again. If we were just, if it was a slight change, then it probably wouldn't require a revisit, but it is very different to what was pitched before.
Yeah, I think we're coming from not just from what I understand as well, because I'm not been like completely hands-on on the project, but we're not coming at it of like this failed, we need to push it past. This is like, oh, actually, there's a place from the feedback that we gathered that this could slot in quite nicely here to see if this is an alternative that players are happy with. So, yeah, we're not trying to just shove things in for shoving's sake for what it's worth. So, alongside the sort of, revisiting Chivalry, why are we proposing to change changes to quest unlocks?
Yeah, so it kind of just it makes it all fit in together with what we're trying to put forward with these new prayers, to not have defensive requirements as well, because the defensive percentages are so low. It allows you to choose whether you want to have the defense and offense together or just the offense. So we want to kind of incorporate that with Chivalry as well, and just make it all aligned and work together as expected, and not have kind of weird differences for one specific prayer. So hopefully it should just all, work well together.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Manked. All right. So this is one that's come straight from feedback from the blog, and I'm guessing there's probably going to be quite a lengthy answer to this, but why are all the Chivalry changes being bundled into one question?
Yep. So we just come out from like a meeting to talk about this feedback, and I'm happy to share some of the notes we got there from this meeting. It sees that everybody been talking about this, and we spoke about this more extensively than anything else in the meeting. So we've seen both sides of argument, whether on social media or in our survey. The thing is, we want Chivalry to be in line with the other two new prayer from the boss from Royal Titan here. So we think it needs not to require defense. So that's what we want to propose an implementation that we feel is best, and let player have their say there. And the thing is, we just don't like this version of this where the Chivalry need 31 defense use, especially as a prayer which that no longer gives significant defense boost now. So we believe there's a lot of support on ours for what we think what is our current approach. And of course, we saw there are some negative feedback online there, but also we saw many positives there from our survey result. Like a lot of people been supporting this. So hopefully this will give some justification for us for approaching it this way, and see. Well, now the next will be see what people thinking in the poll, and so we can consider what the next step it is.
I think just going on with kind of our reasoning for changing Chivalry as well. Currently, it just sees very little use. So if we allowed it to be used for pures as well, it only actually gives them 1 max hit, I believe, in most cases. But if they're in full max, it gives them 2 max hits. But they're not getting that for free. They do have to level up their account, train their prayer, so they do gain some combat levels. So if you are on a lower level, they might not be able to attack you anymore as a result of that. Even changing Chivalry to come from Holy Grail, it's relatively easy to get Piety still as well. So we are offering Chivalry to more players, but Piety is still very much attainable. And I think making all of the prayers work in sync with each other with similar requirements, because they're going to be like kind of the mid-tier offensive prayers, it just works well, and it's nice. And having specific differences when it doesn't necessarily need to be them, it'd be good to adjust that if possible, and this feels like a really good place to do that. As well as kind of new quests, we have this system that you can choose whether you do get XP from quests or not. So for this specific instance, because we think it's a good change, we want to go in that direction as well for this very specific instance. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you both very much for the very in-depth answer. I'm not going to lie, that was a lot. But hopefully that gives you guys a bit more understanding of why the decisions went into what we did. So, awesome. All right. Any sort of closing thoughts on the prayer scrolls before we moved on? Or
yeah, just quickly. I hope the prayers are a nice way to kind of tie in the prayer book as a whole right now, at least. So you have your early game, your mid game, and your late game prayers. Well, there are Augury is only 77 prayer, isn't it? So maybe in the future we can go down that route. But yeah, for now, hopefully this is a nice way to complete the book, and hopefully everyone agrees. I know I've seen a bunch of responses from the survey and stuff, and it looks like people are very much in favour of the changes. So it's great to see.
Yeah, awesome. I cannot stress this enough, just especially from a community manager standpoint. As many of you as possible do the surveys, because they do consolidate all feedback into one nice place. And it's not that we don't take everything into consideration, but those surveys, like we spend time crafting them and adjusting them so we can extract the answers that we need from you guys. So anytime you see a survey, do them, because they are massively helpful to us, especially in CM. Awesome. All right, let's go on to Desiccated Pages, and why are we offering them here specifically?
Yeah, I think it was Mod Hootie that was talking to me about the pages being like frustrating, and I thought, well, we're doing bosses that could potentially drop, burnt pages or soaked pages, but then thematically it felt a little bit off, so we kind of went down this Desiccated Pages route. And what Desiccated Pages are, basically you can choose to get them as a drop instead of your regular loot from these bosses, and then we would allow the original concept is to allow players to bring them to a Pyromancer or to Temporos, and either dip them in the pool or give them to the Pyromancer, and then receive either burnt pages or soaked pages. And that would hopefully encourage players to use elemental weaknesses more, because obviously this boss, we want people to use mage as part of gear switching. So if we can help that whole ecosystem with pages being more available, and not just from Wintertodt or Temporos, where they can be quite frustrating to obtain, like you have to do those activities for quite a long period of time, so you don't really want to use your pages because you don't want to lose them, right? So yeah, this is just another way of obtaining them at a consistent rate, allows you to use them for the content, and yeah, should be good long term, hopefully, for people to get those pages if they want to.
Yeah, I think that's a nice way to give all the avid PVMers that don't want to go back to Wintertodt and Temporos a nice way to consistently keep their PVM up. Because if that's what you love doing, and the thing is from combat, it makes sense that it just keeps you consistently fueled in that nice like gameplay loop, which is quite nice. So yeah, I might definitely do this instead of Temporos and Wintertodt for pages from now on, because this sounds like a very fun boss. All right, next question then is some popular suggestions about tying these pages into Runecraft have popped up since the initial blog. Have you seen these, and what do you make of them?
Yep, I've seen the suggestion, and actually we chatted about this earlier today. And I think we are open to a more well-integrated way of converting these pages with the rune crafting ideas there. And actually, personally, I quite like the idea. So, well, unfortunately, we don't have time to flesh this out before the post goes live. So I think the thing is we need to see if this is something can be fit into the scope of the project, and we need to find out like how long and how difficult to do this as part of the Royal Titan project. So yeah, so is once we know the result, once we know have estimation of the workload there, we'll update the player to let you know. Hopefully we get some good news there soon.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Daizong. All right, we only have a couple questions left, so if you guys have questions about the Royal Titans, the rewards, anything to do with that, please put them in chat at OldSchoolRS, and we'll try and pick them out as much as possible, because we are like running through these questions. All right, the next one then is, will there be a way to make soiled pages using Desiccated Pages?
So currently wasn't in our plans, but if it's requested enough, we could potentially go down that avenue as well. Maybe in Twitch chat you guys can tell us what you think about that.
Yeah. Mention it in chat. Let's go. I keep looking at those words thinking I'm going to mispronounce them, man. I'm sweating looking at them words, but I've got them so far, which is nice. Anything to add on the rewards specifically, like when can we expect the poll to go live?
Yeah, the poll is planned to go live next week.
Yes, so stay tuned. Stay tuned. And then from you guys, is there anything else to add generally over just anything Royal Titans related before we move on to Twitch chat questions?
Yep. Just a quick one I saw in the chat regarding the second hit for the spell from the Twinflame Staff. Yes, that second hit will do elemental like bonus if they've got an elemental weakness, so that 40% will be increased as well. So for something like Zulrah, it could be a very strong staff. But if you go to the blog and look at the DPS charts, you will see that a harm orb is still better. And I can't remember if it was Tumican was even better than the harm orb still or not. But yeah.
Awesome stuff. All right, let's go on to Twitch chat questions now, because we've exhausted our list of pre-written ones from you lovely lot over the last couple of days of feedback. I'm going to read this as it's typed. So, what is the necklace in the picture, guys? Which we've seen quite a lot.
Sorry, I don't know what you mean by a necklace. Gonna have to move on to the next one. No, I'm joking.
Oh.
So the necklace. I don't know whether we want to discuss it now or in a future blog. But it's basically an item that we might propose that allows you to teleport to the boss lairs for the Royal Titans, for Bryo Fighter, and for Obor. It would be charged with a Lore Rune and Big Bones. The Big Bones can be noted if you want. And it'd just be a way to access the lairs for you, if that's something that players are interested in.
Yeah, well, how do you feel about that, chat? There you go. Nice exclusive from us. The design as well looks very cool. Incorporating the sort of drops from the two new Titan, the King and the Queen. So it's very cool. I think all I'm seeing in chat is yes at the moment, which is very good. I also see pets for Obor and Bryo Fighter. Do we want to touch on that quickly? Is there any thoughts behind that?
I mean, from us, I don't think so. Is that something people want? Do people really want to go grind out a lot of keys to go do those? Or, maybe in the future the system can be changed so it doesn't require keys. Could be cool as well. But pets would be quite cool, actually. I can imagine having a little hill giant following me around.
Yeah, maybe it's transmogs instead of an actual pet. Maybe. I don't know. Do we want to give all giants all the pets? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But awesome. All right. Next one then. Have you seen the Goldsmithing Gauntlets suggestion to combine Goldsmith Gauntlets and Ice Gloves? If so, what do you make of it?
Not seen it yet. No. I'm sorry. Do you know anything about it, Sarnie, or have you not seen it either?
I haven't seen the specific suggestion, but from just everything I've seen over the last 4 years and this coming up time and time again, it's a way to combine the Goldsmith Gauntlets and the Ice Gloves so that you can do, I think it's, what's it called? Blast Furnace. A bit nicer so you don't have to consistently switch between gloves. I think it's been going on it's been a hot request for a long, long time. So I reckon that because of the Ice Fire tie-in that we've consistently referenced over this whole stream, that this was to tie into this somehow. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts on the idea, or whether we would tie this into these two.
I think maybe it could just be future reward space for something, because we always like reward space for different areas of the game. So if it's as popular as it sounds it is, then yeah, we could definitely do something like that somewhere else.
Yeah. We'll keep it in mind, guys. We'll keep it in mind. All right, don't worry. It's in the back of the old school team's mind. Who knows for what content? I don't know. All right, next question then. Do you need to be on normals for Twinflame to autocast Fire Wave, or does it act as fire/water runes? Yeah,
so it'll be just like a normal staff. It won't be a powered stave. Probably pronouncing loads of things wrong this stream. My apologies. But yeah, no, you have to be on a normal spellbook. I haven't actually thought too much whether it should act like fire and water runes, whether that be too OP for the staff, but it sounds relatively reasonable, so maybe we do go in that direction if players do like that concept as well.
Cool. Anything we're saying here, just keep keep us in the loop if you definitely want these things, because it would be nice for us to like confirm what you do want. We have touched on this, but I think it's worth re-clarifying. But is there a key system to unlock these bosses? Could Moss and Hill bosses drop keys to unlock the door permanently, like Nexus Frozen Door?
No, on the street, no. So it's interesting. I can share something. It's like in our early design meeting, we're actually having one of those saying no key system for this boss because people don't like the keys in the Hill Giant and Moss Giant. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think that's been a discussion internally for years now. What we do about the keys and when we do new giant bosses, whether we include that or not. So yeah, that's been on our radar for a hot minute.
Yeah.
All right, next question then we have from chat is, since you will only be able to loot one of the giant's bodies, will you receive a double roll on the loot table?
Funnily enough, I don't know how whoever asked this knew this, but yeah, no, we are looking to do 2 rolls at the drop table, but it's not because you're only looting one giant's bodies. It's just for balancing and giving kind of appropriate rewards. I think I saw a question earlier as well that was relating to, if I'm solo, can I loot both of the bosses because I've taken them on myself? No, you only get one roll, so you have to pick one of them. But it is nice because if you are missing a unique from one of them, you can pick that specific boss, so you can hopefully lessen any bad RNG.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be pretty weird to force in a solo meta for a boss we've designed for duos in mind. I feel like that'd be quite strange. But yeah. Next question. Talking about groups and duos, will there be dedicated grouping system to help players find duos?
Yeah. Well, we still look at different possibility of how we deal with the player can play together in this boss. And yeah, I think the something we need to look at is not too complex, so it's fit in with our project, our scope of the project. Something we may look at might be, like next how they've been doing with the group players been doing this. Oh yeah. So the other thing would sorry, just forgot to say that. Just add this. Yeah, the other thing is we might be link that's being aligned with the client system, so we'll be able to do that only with the people with you in the same client.
Awesome stuff. Thank you, Daizong. Okay, can you give a bit more explanation based on defeating one boss and the other becoming stronger?
Yeah. So the premise is we don't want you to just kill one boss and then be like, haha, easy mechanics because I only have to deal with one boss now. So we will incentivize you to be tactical about your fight and not just destroy one and then move on to the next, to kind of distribute damage to each of the bosses. It won't be like vanguards where you have to ensure that you're in this specific limit, because that can be very frustrating if you're not great at maths or just not paying attention too much. But yeah, we will make it a bit more difficult if you do decide to take down one boss. It won't be significantly impossible to do. Like you won't want to leave, and go bank after doing it once. There will be some leniency, but it will be encouraged. You will be encouraged to defeat both bosses at a very similar time.
Yep. So when we design the boss there, the mechanics there, one is fire, one is ice. So apparently, when what ice and fire coming together, they just cancel out each other. So that's kind of the inspiration we are trying to do here. When there are 2 bosses together, they will kind of cancel out each other for some of their attacking. So which actually in a way helping the player to fighting them. When they're facing 2 of them, even you're facing 2 bosses, but they are actually they will not really helping each other when they actually doing the attack together. But then there's one boss left. They didn't have the constraint from the power on the opposite giant, which means you're only facing one element there, which is much more stronger compared to before when there's 2 bosses there.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Daizong. I can already see people saying in chat that's very, very cool. So good job. All right, next question then. Are you thinking of updating other duo bosses, i.e. Grotesque Guardians, to be similar as a duo person boss as well?
Currently not, no. It's not quite as simple as just copy paste 2 the other system, it would require a lot of reworking, I believe. So I don't think so, no.
Awesome stuff. All right. Next question then. Would Jarl, I've butchered that phrasing of that, Jarl, consider expanding which Slayer Masters give out Ice Giant tasks with this new boss?
Yeah, we're open to it. I believe we are hoping to make it so if you're on a Fire Giant task, you can get that extra damage and XP from Brandr. And if you're on a Ice Giant task, you can get that XP and extra damage against Eldric. But in terms of increasing the amount of tasks available from different Slayer Masters, I'm not sure whether we want to do that, because that might end up negatively affecting, those specific Slayer Masters for what they provide and assign. So I don't know whether we'd do that, but we will hopefully, depending on balancing, allow you to do this on task.
Yeah, there we go. So stay tuned for more. That's what I'm hearing from Manked. Okay, next question then is, will there be a quest that unlocks the new giant bosses, or will it be open gate from the get-go?
Unfortunately, no, we don't plan to have a new quest for that. We don't really have that kind of scope for fitting that there. And also on the other side, the boss itself, it's like a focus on training the player with the gear switching. So we don't feel like we really need to put a quest there to do any like introduction there. But yeah, I think it'd be cool, if we have a quest to give some background there. But it is something I think people can get the idea from the fight itself, like an ice giant and the fire giant being in a conflict.
Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. All right, next question then is, what's the rough kill time you're aiming for with the Royal Titans?
I think it's still a bit early to say. We are still in the way of balancing and tweaking the things. I think the thing is, it will need to be make sure that experience is smooth enough for our target player, and also it will be related with how the drop table been working. How we want player to, like the GP rate from there, how often we want player to get the rare reward from the boss. So it's all kind of the balancing we need to see there.
Yeah, I think a lot of these are going to come down to balancing post, pre and post update. So yes, awesome. So I don't know who. Oh, is this Mod Manx come in with a question from the chat? What's my favourite Sarnie? Depends on the day of the week, mate. I don't know. It's if we're going like classic bacon or sausage, 100%. Like sausage in like a nice crusty roll with some ketchup on there, little black pepper sprinkled in, Just nice, simple. Yeah. Anyway, back to Royal Titans. Next question is, understanding you can't discuss drop rates, but what is the team aiming for in terms of hours to complete this boss?
It wouldn't be a significant amount of hours, I don't believe. Obviously, it's hard to discuss rates right now because we need to balance everything, basically. There's a lot that goes into it, so we can't give like an exact amount, but it shouldn't be that lengthy, because obviously this is kind of how do I say it? We don't want to make this feel like a massive chore where you might as well just go to do chambers instead. But we kind of want this to feel like it's worthwhile doing without taking way too much time. So we want to respect your time, and yeah. So I won't say exactly, but we will respect your time.
Yeah, we will indeed. All right, the next question then we have from chat is the team set on the new prayers replacing the old ones, or are they open to use this as an opportunity to make the prayer book more customizable like the spell book?
So I think, sorry, might catch that, all of it. Okay, I think we are somewhat set on replacing the old ones, just because if we do make it new prayers, it kind of messes with the prayer book as it is, and we could add a scroll bar and stuff. But it feels like this would work quite well in simply replacing the prayers. Maybe we can have a toggle so you can potentially toggle it off, but I don't know why you ever would, unless you go to free to play maybe. But yeah, there probably wouldn't be much of a reason to toggle it other than that.
Awesome. Okay, thank you, Manked. All right, I'm going to skip over question 15 from chat and question 16, and question 17, and question 18. So we're going to go to 19 just for production's sake. What tier weapons would you recommend to fight the Titans? And I'm not going to read it. Don't say what specific weapons, guys, but what do you reckon the tier of weapons should be?
I reckon a bronze dagger. No, I'm joking. I don't know.
The giant one, at least.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. I would probably say you're not expected to be in max gear. Obviously, you can go in max gear if you want. If you're hunting the pet, obviously you're probably going to do that. But if you think about where you're expected to be in a player's journey, when you're maybe you've done a fire cape, you can kind of assume what gear you'd have at that point. Obviously, the better gear, the easier the kills will be. But you can go with a friend, and you can just take whatever gear you can. Again, we are looking to put the main focus on gear switching, so it's not necessarily going to be like a really a tough fight in the sense of you've got a DPS check. It'll be more so trying to teach players how to gear switch, rather than you need the best gear to be able to do this. So that'll be the focus.
Yeah, definitely not confirming Obor's club is going to one-shot both of them. So definitely don't look into that, All right. Next question is there a reason, this is quite a good question, is there a reason these aren't free to play like other giant bosses?
I guess it's yeah. I think it's the current plan is we try to focus on getting the content to be the membership. We should focus on getting this boss to fill the gap. Like Scurrius is also not a member, not a free to play one, and Perilous Moon is also not there. So it's more like we lined up with the content, with the member content we want. But of course, if later player will want some free to play boss to be there to line up with the like Hill Giant and Moss Giant, that would be something we can consider to do in the future.
I think also for that, like trying to balance this, if it was a free to play boss which is meant to teach gear switching, would be quite difficult, and because it's meant to be a duo boss, I feel like it being free to play would limit it quite a lot. So that's also another reason why it's going to be a members boss.
Yeah, I think to both Manked and Daizong's point, it's about that positioning in the player journey, not about like the actual bosses themselves. Because they're giants, they should be free to play. It's more like, because this is where we see them in the journey, it doesn't make real sense for them to be free to play, because you would be beyond that point where, like, I want to say the free to play like cap. I don't even want to use the word cap, but that free to play like hard limit hits when you sort of like exhausted the most of the stuff you can do there, and this just feels natural to be placed there. Cool. All right then. I think that is, where will the Titans be located in Gielinor? This is the last chat question I have.
Scania Ice Dungeon. I think that's the one we've been talk about, and that's the thing we see during the summit. And no change on that yet.
Yeah, awesome. All right, I do have one more actually, just to slip one in there. Will you be able to manually cast surge spells with the Twin Star Flame and get the bonus attack?
No, it would be way too powerful, and then you'd be reaching harmonized levels of abilities. So no, it will be capped at fire wave, just to ensure it stays within that mid tier weapon.
Awesome. Thank you very much, both to you, Mod Mank and Mod Daizong, for appearing on our first return live stream. How are you feeling after the reception, Daizong?
It's good. Yeah, it's exciting here, and that's a lot of questions to answer, honestly.
and Mank, just as a question for you, what is it like going? Especially, I suppose this could open up to both of you. What is it going between very PvP oriented content to then back to sort of very hardcore PVM, not hardcore, but hard PVM focused content? And that, is there like a nice balance you find going between the two different types of content?
Yeah, personally, I think obviously wilderness and PvP content can be more of a touchy subject. So developing and designing content for it is quite a bit more difficult. Whereas for the Royal Titans, it's being relatively smooth sailing. The community seem to enjoy what we've pitched so far, and it's been very positive. So that is a nice breath of fresh air. But don't get me wrong, I do love my PvP, and I'm looking forward to moving in a direction in the future where we do have some solid PvP updates that maybe focus more on what we've learned after going through some of the results from the PvP survey.
Awesome. And I can sort of like echo a couple of comments I've seen in chat. With your guys' previous history on Scurrius, I feel like there's a bar you've already set for yourselves in terms of quality. So yeah, I'm sure you'll surpass it. You'll surpass it. You guys will smash it out. I have the fullest confidence. All right, let's go on to some of the announcements. For those of you in chat that have been discussing about a particular bug, please check the pinned comment in there. That's all we have to say about that. But in terms of announcements, Titans, Old School's newest dual boss, is dropping in early 2025. Check out this week's blog for a full rundown on the Royal Titans and their rewards, and make sure to vote in next week's game poll. GOTR, calling all Runecrafters, Guardians of the Rift is better than ever. So check out this week's game update news post for a full rundown of all our latest quality of life improvements. Next announcement, podcast. Are you looking for the perfect content to sit back and scape to? Look no further than Mod Aiza and Sween's podcast with Mod Kieran covering everything from spaghetti code to Smith and Reworks. I will say we've seen a massive amount of feedback and a lot of love for these podcasts. So I think it's definitely something we're going to explore doing more of in the future, because I think these were the only 2 test ones and they seem to have gone down pretty well. So yeah, hopefully they will continue. Next announcement, Leagues 5. Of course, Leagues 5 Ranging Echoes is right around the corner. This time around, we're releasing powerful new Echo bosses with even more powerful, unique rewards. You check out this video for a rundown from the wonderful Scritic. If you've already done your sort of Leagues 5 planning, I'd recommend to watch the video, because it might make you rethink your choices about where you have your area unlocked. So go and watch it. And then finally, Discord, with the live streams being back. That's sick. I'm glad they're back. But the Discord is full of fantastic things, including newly updated channels, and we do Discord stages there, which are a bit more chill, low-key stream type things, and they're really, really good, and we're really enjoying them. So make sure to join the Discord if you want to stay up to date with all the latest bits and pieces we're doing there. And that is everything from us. Our first stream back for what seems to feel like a millennia. I'm not going to lie. I feel like loads has happened in between this and the last stream. So I want to say a big thank you to Mod Manked and Manked and Daizong for appearing on the live stream, for all the mods behind the scene, including production and those in the chat. And a massive thank you to all of you lovely lot for watching at home, because we obviously do this mainly for you guys, to give you more information and just extra info. So yeah. I think that is it. I've been your host, Mod Sarnie, and we are going to be raiding Hebox Jong after this. So stick around, make sure to spam loads of love. I believe he is running Theatre of Blood on his road to a UIM Grand Master. So very, very exciting stuff. So with that, we shall see you out. Have a lovely rest of the week and a lovely weekend, and I hope to see you all in the next one very soon. Goodbye.